It is John and Rachel, and this is YaJagOff Late Night, episode number 4.
Love it. We're getting used to all this. We love showing everybody around and letting them get used to what the Q92.9 studios look like, because if you're watching, listening, whatever, for the very first time, we are at the Q92.9 studios right here on McKnight Road. We hope that you check us out if you haven't. Listen to us wherever you find podcasts. Make sure you're tuning in every Friday night because we have so many fun, amazing Pittsburghers like tonight. It's an all-star cast.
Right.
If you don't look at your sheet, do you know who's all here?
I do know.
Go.
First of all, if you do find the podcast or you're watching or listening to this one on YouTube, wherever, make sure you share it. Leave some comments. Like last week, we had a couple of comments actually on YouTube. It was like, wow, people are actually watching it. So
I love when he says that. The validation piece
make
makes
sure
me
you share it and tell everybody like this is not so bad. These people aren't so bad.
They're not so bad.
All right, so here's our guest tonight.
Who's first?
James Santelli. From the Regional Asset District.
So
you might not know what that is, but you would know it as RAD. You hear RAD days go on here in Pittsburgh, but there's a whole lot of process that goes on to get to RAD days, and we're going to talk about that because you, as the general public, have a chance to be informed about what's going on over at the Regional Asset District.
A lifetime movie star, and it is not even the like holiday season yet. I mean, it's upon us, but it's not those like cornball ones, like if you watched SNL last week, they did the amazing spoof on. Little different, but Pittsburgh's own now. We've adopted him. He is from New York City, but Steve Hofstetter is here. And being in North Hills, it's pretty cool because his second location is here on Babcock.
The cool thing about Steve is that when I was downstairs getting the things because, we're at McKnight Road and we encourage people to come and watch this thing. I was downstairs getting the Mancini's bread out of my car.
I love that you're tempting
pepperoni
people.
rolls and everything. And I saw this limousine van pull in. I'm like, no kidding.
And
he came in a limousine.
Does he have a driver?
He was the driver.
Oh, because I have a driver. I just don't have a limousine.
So anyways, Erica J and I were down there like, oh my God, check that out. What a cool ride.
Yeah.
And he was the driver. So anyway, Steve is here. That's cool. And we have a rap artist coming on tonight.
Too foul. Listen, this is what I'm most excited about. We have been celebrating 50 years of hip hop all year long, and I really want to chat with somebody local because it's been really cool to see how all of the celebs, like Will Smith came out, hasn't performed in how long. He was doing some things. We most recently, during Jazz Days, had 2 of the pioneers with Jimmy Jam. So we really want to know, like, come on, tell us what it's all about. How do you really celebrate hip-hop? Because that was my favorite.
Cool thing is
anybody who cares.
He's from the area where we podcasted some time ago, which is a neighborhood-based studio, which is cool.
What was on the blog? Go first.
So first thing is that, listen, when it trickles rain or it flurries a little bit of snow, you don't have to hit your brakes. Just drive. And on the blog at jagoff.com, we have a picture of a car it's very blurry. It's like one of those when there's a murder, the picture's always blurry of the person. Well, this car is blurry because it was in action of them hitting their brakes going up a hill because there was 4 snow flurries. Don't do it.
Did you do this by yourself?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get the picture.
Oh, yeah.
I love that you called it the slow, oh no, it's snow driver.
Yeah.
You're starting to theme like me. Second up, jagging around with Steve Young. Why is this so important? Well, first of all, it's not Steve Young, the football player, because let me tell you, I could care less about football and less Steelers, of course, but I had the biggest crush on Steve Young when I was younger.
Yeah.
Do you know who he is?
Right? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're not a huge football person, are you?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So anyway, it's the Steve Young of New York. We Zoomed with him because he's coming here to Bottle Rockets, and the coolest part is he actually wrote for the one and only David Letterman.
Yeah, he was the guy when David Letterman's record collection. He was the guy who pulled all of those records.
Yeah.
He also wrote for season 8 of The Simpsons. So big time comedy writer coming to Pittsburgh.
For Simpsons fans, it's
it
the
out.
Ned Flanders, like when you'll know what it is. It's the Ned Flanders when they like call him out and he thinks he may not love God anymore. Hysterical.
Most of our Jagging Around videos are 3 to 4 minutes. We left him on because he called out one of our sponsors, Dryer Vent Wizard.
He did, and I want to see if she hasn't picked it up yet.
Yeah.
We're testing you, Dryer Vent Wizard, to see. Speaking of, we have to obviously thank People's Gas as well as Rorik Automotive because we are able to do this late night every single Friday, and we absolutely love it. All right, moving on. If you are listening to this as the podcast version, just skip because tomorrow we are going to the one and only, the first ever, don't say annual because it's not annual yet, Yinzer Fest. We are so stoked. It's not a fest yet. It's actually the Great Yinzer Tailgate.
Yep.
And we are helping to MC it, but we're doing our Yinzer Olympics, and we're super stoked for that because people get to come balance one of our ornaments, our parking chair ornaments, on a spatula. They get to eat strawberry pretzel jello salad with their hands behind their backs. It'll be a great time. So if you're listening now, please come, hang out, and have a really good time.
And if you're listening after that happened, make sure you go watch the videos because I guarantee you people eating strawberry jello pretzel salad without their hands is worth watching.
And I didn't say it's at South Point. I don't know exactly where, but I mean, South Point is not that big. If you're driving through there, just ask the local gas attendant where
Make sure you watch
to
Talk
go.
Pittsburgh this Friday because our next Jag Tag is going to be up there. So it's on.
Where are we going?
3 to 4 p.m. We are going to Bean and Brush.
Brush and bean, bean
Brush
and brush.
and bean?
We don't know because the point to it is we don't do any kind of background info. They were tagged as a Jag, term of endearment, of course, but we're headed to Murraysville from what we understand.
Right.
So we're excited to find out what all that means. But cue the confetti.
Time to pay attention.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I should have brought my
We should have a
kazoo.
breaking news bumper. The ultimate YaJagOff holiday parade is back this year,
Guess what's
December
back?
2nd,
Back.
and it's going to be at the block at Northway.
Yeah. Not your average holiday parade, YaJagOff, with the best graphic ever because Johnny did it, and it is absolutely fantastic. From what I understand, Jamie at the block at Northway is actually putting it up as the billboard starting tomorrow. So you can actually see it whenever you're driving through McKnight Road. Get your holiday shopping done. Go there, but check out the fact that we are welcoming in what used to be the parade, and now it's done
It's
in a
our
parking
version.
lot. Yeah. We sit in a pickup truck, and we drive to different stations. What are the stations? The Berg Bus station, the Mancini station, and the Screen Mobile station, where we greet our guests, interview them, let them perform, have a jolly old time.
Right. And then we go we drink.
We don't.
Yeah.
There's more
We do.
to it.
We
there
do.
is.
She's lying.
Listen.
She's actually lying. We
Our
have 15
friends
seconds.
Max and Shane are actually playing a part in this
Yeah.
also, so
They're
you need to
graffiti
read all
artists, and
about
you have
it.
to- All right, we're going to go interview a
He's
guest.
shutting
right
me
now.
up, but that's all right. Stay with us. We're excited for tonight's show on YaJagOff Late Night. So what are we getting?
No.
So coffee, espresso. I don't know if that's what I want.
Of course,
Hello?
chocolate is always a go-to.
Ooh,
It's whenever
do I
you're
want
at
the cake cone or sugar
was it?
cone?
Just pick
All right,
because I
I
can't.
think
I'm getting to the point where I'm getting frustrated over ice cream.
To order? Do you need some help?
I'll let you pick. You pick.
I'm going waffle cone for you with vanilla.
Sure, if we want.
Sprinkles, Jimmy's.
Get
Sprinkles and Jimmy's.
Do you get Jimmy's at Millie's?
Oh
Because
my
it's the
gosh,
flavor.
you do that so
Oh, you got
well.
a double scoop.
There you
Perfect.
go.
Thank
All
you.
right.
You're welcome.
Oh my
Now
God,
what?
this is delicious.
Salute.
Wait. Before you dig in, you have to call 811. Anytime you're doing digging for a project, including the project that this has been, you have to call 811. We will come out and mark your lines. People's utility workers will come out and mark those lines. Make sure that you don't hit anything because that could cause a serious safety incident if you do. So please, before you dig, call 811.
Dude.
Just wanted ice cream.
Don't play with your food. But remember, before you dig this summer, call 811.
I got lost and I was on the 5th ring where the Air Force has their security, and I walked down a hall to a young gentleman sitting at a desk, and I just wanted to ask him how I get to the other inside rings. And he stood up and he put his hand on his gun, and I said, I don't care what in the hell you're doing in there. You can tell me, I won't know what it is, but just how do I get out of here? But he just thought he was really pretty cool, and I didn't think he was going to.
All right, so then the podcast, you saw, YaJagOff does a lot of things, and we produce podcasts, so we appreciate the folks at Providence Point that let us produce their podcast. Actually, it's not even us, it's Monica.
I was going to say, we got the credit on that
I
one.
know, right?
We do zero work. She
Right.
does it all, but it's a good thing to talk about. Another good thing to talk about is Rad. I always have you bring us in because even when I am researching, if I have to tag you guys, I'm like regional asset, and John's like
Double
district.
check.
Yes, because I'm like, what is that darn D? But James Santelli, you've become a regular on the YaJagOff podcast, and now all of these little resources that we have through YaJagOff, because we love talking to you and educating everybody about what Rad is, because I feel like this year in particular, because the museums have been ranked so much, and I feel like everybody went to the museums.
Right.
I think that everybody loves Rad now.
Well, I hope that people got, as much as they could out of
Yeah.
the museums being free, both in the month of August when we did 3 for free with
Right.
the History Center, the Warhol, and the Children's Museum, and also with Rad Days. I mean, that's part of what Rad Days is. It's about
Sure.
thanking people for, the Rad tax money, and also just putting our name out there and saying, we help fund all of these different wonderful places that you get to enjoy. So I'm glad hopefully it's
I
working.
do. I really
Well,
mean it.
yeah.
I mean, I think it's the YaJagOff podcast too, but I also
Big part.
think it's because all of those great things were happening. But, I'm sorry. I know you want to ask the first question, which is fine.
No.
But what is RAD? Explain what the tax credit is so that people understand. We do this every time.
Absolutely, and happy to do it. RAD is the Allegheny Regional Asset District, and we distribute part of the 1% sales tax in Allegheny County. When you pay that 7% on sales, 1% is for the county. Half of that is for local government. The other half is RAD. And from that, our board makes decisions on where to allocate that money. About a third every year goes to our public libraries in the city and in the county. A third to our regional parks, all the big, county parks and city parks like Frick Park and Shenley Park. And a third to anything from arts and culture,
Right.
a lot of the museums that we talked about, places like the zoo, aviary, FIPS, stadiums, convention center. We even have a little for public transit. All put together makes up about what will be $135 million next year for our regional assets.
Everybody
Very
loves to
exciting.
see you walk in a room.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think it's pretty cool that even our guests that are following you today, each one of them are doing cool things and culturally in the area, and they could almost they would need to learn about the regional asset district tax.
Absolutely, and it's all keeping Pittsburgh and the local area vibrant in the arts scene, that there's always something going on, there's always something to see, and we're proud of the work that RAD does. We fund organizations that help make that happen, but it doesn't happen with just those people. Like, we're glad that Pittsburgh just has an overall vibrant art scene, including with the Greater Pittsburgh Arts Council, which is another RAD asset.
Right.
Like, we definitely punch above our weight class in terms of that.
Yeah, and I know we've said this before on other podcasts, but this is episode 4 of our new podcast. So
Yeah,
This is
so
all
it's all
brand
good. It's
new.
all
you
new.
are the
Yeah.
people that make people happy that they are paying taxes, right? Because we pay taxes, we bitch and moan about it, that kind of thing. But the fact is, this 1%, when it all came in, people are like, oh, well, 1%, blah, blah, blah. But you're showing people how the tax actually works for them.
I like to joke that I'm a publicist for a tax,
Right.
which you don't get very
Yeah.
often.
Sure.
But I'm glad that you see it that way, because that's how we see it, that this is something that was brought into effect almost 30 years ago to help sustain the places that people love, whether it was the zoo or the aviary, whether it was your local library or your local park. This wasn't just to, line the coffers of government. This was something to make sure that Pittsburgh could continue to have great places, that there was public investment behind it. And what it's done in a lot of cases is it's helped make those places better and more sustainable on their own. Places like FIPS have become their own, nonprofit and had their own, ability to generate money with donations and fundraisers and everything else. And they employ a lot more people than they did 30 years ago before this came into effect. So it really comes together in a beautiful way. I don't want to get too schmaltzy about a tax, but it does make these places.
Yeah, then people are like,
Hey,
done.
get schmaltzy.
Yeah,
Already turned it
hashtag
off.
get schmaltzy. Yeah.
But it makes these places better. It makes them, more attractive for local visitors and for visitors from out of town. And it really, I think, is a virtuous cycle.
And when you
that's
guys
true.
do the free things, it introduces people to something they wouldn't
Right.
necessarily. We always tease that Pittsburghers don't do anything that takes 2 bridges to get to, right?
Yes.
But it also, especially these times, Pittsburghers don't do things that are going to cost. If I have 4 kids, 3 kids, whatever, it's going to cost me drinks, food, whatever, parking, and to go do this thing.
Certainly.
It's probably $150 a day. But the fact is, you guys do these free items, and that's super cool.
Right, and the last thing you want to do is pay, a lot for something and find out maybe it's not your thing
Yes.
and you weren't into it. What we are so proud of is that we get people to the symphony who might not otherwise go and say oh wait, I love this, I would love to come back. You kind of get that free sample effect of, I wouldn't have come without this free offering, but now I am into the ballet or the opera or whatever it may be. And that's
I don't
really
want to
cool.
put you on the spot, but I will. Is there do you have some kind of, I'm not a statistics person at all, but
Sure.
is there data to show that the things that you've done, and not, let's be, full disclosure, not everything's free. It's just
Right.
things that you do for particular places, and sometimes it happens to be like free admission.
Yes,
So
a lot of what we put out there, the places say, thank you for this public investment.
Right.
In return, we will have more, free events.
Yeah.
Free
and it's like a
offerings,
certain
community
day,
engagement.
right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So are there statistics showing that example? Because we were saying that you had free admission for the Children's Museum, Heinz History Center, and what was the third?
The Warhol.
Warhol. Examples. Did they say, oh, we had an uptick in membership?
Oh, yes.
Really?
They did. That you had more people, going and buying memberships. You had more people that.
So it's working.
It's working, and especially in the sense of a diverse crowd. And I'm, not talking
Sure.
about just like racial and ethnic diversity, although that is important too. We're talking about age diversity.
Yeah.
The people at the Heinz History Center were saying they had more strollers coming in than they had ever seen
Okay.
before. You had, a ton of people going to the Warhol for the first time. Maybe, older people who, might not be, necessarily their thing, but they go and check it out. So it gives everybody the opportunity to try something out. And in a lot of cases, as I mentioned, I think the Heinz History Center in particular saw more people, buying memberships because they had so many people come in the door. So many people see what was on offer and want to come back for more.
Yeah, that's great.
Now we're going to tease a little bit because we're going to talk to you in a little bit about how the public gets involved in
Yes.
your job, right? But let's get personal a little bit. You're a big
wow.
runner.
Yes.
You're a big runner. So this is election season. What are you running for? No, just kidding. No.
You said softball questions to you
right.
before.
Right.
So
Yeah,
no. Did you start running right after we met you and you ate a bunch of Mancini's bread at a podcast?
I know, I do
Or
feel
because
like
it
it's
seems
us.
like it really has launched since we've gotten to know
If
you.
it'll get me a Mancini sponsorship, then yes,
Yeah.
those
Right.
carbohydrates. have
Right.
There you
fueled
go.
my
Yeah,
running.
yeah.
It started a little bit before I started coming on the show, but I think it's kind of ramped up. And actually, this Sunday is the Pittsburgh 10-miler. Kind of
Yeah.
goes the route of the half marathon, but in the opposite direction and a little bit shorter. And that's always a fun race that I'll be doing. I'll be doing the YMCA Turkey Trot on Thanksgiving
Yeah.
Day. So there's a lot more
Love that.
coming up with that. Yeah.
And there's a lot of that going on in Pittsburgh, and not
I think so.
I mean, give them a shout out. I know there's so many places where you can base your run, but P3R, it's a Pittsburgh-based company,
Yeah.
and they make these runs and walks experiential.
They
You
do.
know, one of the coolest ones we did was out at the airport, where you got to run and walk on the runways, and there were aircraft out there. To me, that was just cool that we could do that. We didn't shut down the airport for anybody that's worried, but there
Still
was,
land.
but they do these things where it's super cool, like even the Steelers 5K, where you come running in onto the field and you're on the Jumbotron, and all. That's really, Pittsburgh has exploded with that stuff.
I love it. I'm kind of jealous that you went and did the airport 5x5K
Oh, okay.
because I haven't done that one.
Okay.
You
yet.
weren't friends with us
Oh,
then. You
and
didn't know we were so
and my
fit.
time was 19.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I'm just
yeah?
kidding, no.
Yeah.
Days.
Have to bake that.
Yeah, I was going to say hours.
Break that
but
next
yeah.
year. But they really do a fantastic job. And part of the reason that I wanted to get into running in the first place is to do these kinds of races. There are very few times during the year where they will shut down streets
Yeah.
for people to go on, shut
Yeah.
them down to cars and open them up for people.
Right.
But one of the times is the marathon. One
Sure.
of the times is the 10-miler or
Yeah.
the turkey trot or what have you. Like, you get to experience the city in a new way. You get to be around all these other people. There's a really fun energy around it. So I definitely enjoy that.
We
Is
didn't
there
see
a-
you at Lemieux, though. We saw you at Lemieux last
yeah,
year.
I had to skip out on
Bag, that's,
Lemieux next.
yeah. I ate your
We
banana.
noticed.
I ate your banana. I walked, but I still ate 3 bananas. Yeah, my potassium wasn't
We are
even low.
so
I just
bad
ate
at
3
that
bananas.
one because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can't figure it out.
Right.
We
right.
do that slow walk and we feel
Okay.
so
Yeah.
uneventful. And we're like, we wanted to do the other thing, not run,
Yeah.
but that middle one.
Yeah.
That,
Jog.
like, yeah.
Right. Is there a out of town marathon or 10K or something you really want to work your way to? Because I know somebody that's now working their way towards the New York City Marathon.
Oh,
Had
yeah.
no idea you had to qualify yourself through all these apps and everything. But is there one you're trying to get to?
That would be a really cool one. Also, the Boston Marathon. That's kind of the standout one where you have to break 3 hours in the marathon to qualify in the first place. So it's all these, crazy athletic folks, and it's just everything I've heard from friends of mine who have run it, who have qualified, is just what an amazing day it becomes in Boston. Everybody has the day off of work on that Monday, and that would be a really cool thing to aspire to. I'm not anywhere close to it yet,
Okay.
mind you,
All right.
but like maybe sometime in my 30s, I'd be able to go do that. That'd
Oh
be
my
really
God.
fun.
Why did he do that?
Just cut the podcast now. You're no longer invited
Who
to the
says that
podcast
to
in my
us?
30s.
Yeah. All right, so we'll jump back to all the fun rad stuff because when Tracy reaches out, she always says, is there something in particular that you want to talk about? Obviously, huge. And I want to know, is this number that you're reaching, is that a huge, is that deal breaking? right?
It is a
your
record
budget.
breaking.
Okay,
It's a
deal
record
breaking.
breaking
Record breaking, yeah.
Oh, it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah,
the
it's
deal
not a
is
deal
on.
breaker. Yeah.
Yes, we're currently, our preliminary budget is set for about $134.9 million.
Wow.
And that will be a record-breaking budget. And I want to say that it all is thanks to RAD taxpayers.
Yeah.
When you're spending money in Allegheny County on taxable items, you're contributing to it. So everything from, restaurants doing well to, shops doing well to Taylor Swift coming to town.
I was just going to say the concerts, yeah.
And everybody, all the people traveling in and paying, sales taxes in there, it all contributes to record numbers of sales tax money, and it allows us to invest more in the places that we're already investing in. And even more, coming into next year, we're going to have 7 new RAD assets pending the approval from the board. And it's a real cross-section, as long as I can get my phone out to make sure I got
He's so good.
Here,
7
Here, I'll go.
Just want to double check.
Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da.
Hey,
Don't
and
leave
here's
that
James. See, we delayed for you.
First time RAD assets. We're looking at the Balafon West African Dance Ensemble, Confluence Ballet, the Latin American Cultural Center, Pittsburgh Youth Concert Orchestra, and Allegheny River Trail Park, Frick Environmental Center, and Venture Outdoors. And I think that's a real cross-section of the kind of work that RAD does. It is libraries, but it's also parks and trails. And we've got some new, parks and trails as part of it. It's a lot of arts and culture from, youth to, older folks, and, from dance to instrumental to everything else in between of the performing arts. So it shows that our board is listening.
Yeah.
We're listening all year long, trying to find new opportunities, and pending the approval from the board later this month, we'll have 7 new assets.
Amazing.
And people get a chance to vote on what you're doing, right?
The board does, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so,
or they get a chance
But
to.
people can weigh in.
to
the
weigh
people can
in,
weigh
right?
in, yes.
Mhm.
And we really
Encourage,
appreciate public input, and we don't just appreciate it, we want to have public input. What are we doing right? What could we do differently? What do you see that you like? And we encourage people to go to radworkshere.org
Oh my God, that
in the
was
month
too
of
good.
November.
Yeah, that was
Jump
too
in
good,
right
yeah.
there. Multiple ways that you can give your feedback. Easiest is by email, but we'll take letters if you want to write it out and send it in. If you want to fax us, we still have a fax to be able to take that. Or call us, during our office hours, or even leave a voicemail. Any way that you want to give your feedback, your input of how RAD can better serve the community, we're open to it.
Well, you get my letter for free pepperoni sandwiches. In the meantime,
Junk drawer?
we have. Oh, you want to do junk drawer first, or the
Go.
question of the
Go
day?
junk drawer.
All right. Did you bring us something for our junk drawer?
I did, yes.
All right. If you're listening for the first time or watching, we have a junk drawer here, and we ask every guest to bring us something for the junk drawer.
I can't wait.
And you have brought us.
I have brought you 2 out-of-town transit passes. Now, this is a staple of my junk drawer, because anytime I'm traveling out of town, I like to take, either the bus or the subway or whatever they got. So in Los Angeles, it's the TAP card.
Okay.
And in DC for Metro, it's called Smart Trip.
Oh, I'll
All
take
right.
DC.
All right.
And there you
Smart.
go. And I don't know about you,
Thank
but I always
you.
feel like
Thank
whenever
you.
I
Thank
am,
you.
leaving a place on vacation, I want to keep the transit card to be like, I'm going to go back. I still have
Sure.
$2
You never
left
know.
on this transit
Right.
card. So it ends up in the junk
I
drawer.
love this.
So there might be $2 in this.
You
There-
could-
I
you
might
could-
be a winner.
We may be going
We'll
on a
put this
trip.
up for raffle.
James, before we go, what would we find in your glove box?
Oh, the
That's
glove
our question of the
compartments.
day. Yeah.
Well, besides gloves, you would
wow.
find
Who
like
finds gloves there?
you would find like a hat and like things for running in the
guard.
cold,
smart.
where you want
He's
to
so prepared.
be
Yeah.
able to keep yourself warm, or whatever, to be able to make sure that I'm not freezing
Okay.
on these winter runs.
Gotcha.
Smart.
Yeah.
James
You're good.
Santelli, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
And real quick, apologies to Sarah Bareilles. Last time around, I called her a one-hit wonder. That was a
Oh
was a
yeah, you
mistake.
took that on the chin on social
That
media.
was a mistake.
for
I
that.
must make a correction, a la Late Night with Seth Meyers on this late night show. Sarah Bareilles, I was thinking of Vanessa Carlton and A Thousand
you.
Miles.
That's just-
Sarah Bareilles, you're a wonderful actress and
Don't
singer.
talk about music anymore. It's just not good for you because we're gonna have people
Right,
mad.
right.
James Santelli,
Thank you so
thanks for
much.
joining
Thank
us.
you.
All right, we got a guy doing a Lifetime movie next. YaJagOff Late Night.
If my younger self could see me doing these things now, I wouldn't believe it. To be a steam fitter, you need to be a problem solver. You can do instrumentation, hydronics, chillers, rigging, HVAC. I have this wonderful opportunity to grow my career.
It's not what you are that makes you a steam fitter. It's who you are. Over 100 years, and we're just getting started.
Rach, I have to vent. Here's my dryer vent. This one time, I found a Lee press-on nail in my dryer stuff, and it was not mine.
Vom in the throat. One time, my kids left Kleenexes from one of their worst whooping coughs in their pocket.
Guys, you guys are such jagoffs. That's not the type of dryer venting we're talking about. We professionally clean your dryer vent to increase your dry time and save you guys some money.
For 4 hours. Wet, like 10 pounds
you
wet.
Jagoffs, you need to get your dryer vents cleaned.
It's Monica. Estamos en Emiliano's esta semana para Yeet Yet. We're hanging out for Yeet Yet at Emiliano's. They have 5 locations in Pittsburgh, and across from me, Tony. Tony, what's going on, sir?
Good. We are doing good. We are excited that you guys are here.
Yeah, what is your title here? ¿Qué es su título aquí?
I'm one of the operation managers for Emiliano's.
Very cool. How long have you been with the company?
I have been with the company for 16 years.
16 years.
Yeah.
Now, it's family
Short
oriented.
Yeah, we are family owned by Benny, Ulloa, and Vianel. And we have been here 17 years in Pittsburgh already.
Wow, that's a really big feat.
Yeah.
This sampler, is it a brand new item for Emiliano's?
Yeah, that's one of the new items. We have the 2 versions. We have the more like close to the Mexican food items, so you can like try chimichangas, taquitos, empanadas, and quesadillas.
Yeah, so basically.
And also the guacamole.
The best of Mexico.
Yeah.
Welcome back, John and Rachel, YaJagOff Late Night, and thanks to Monica for doing a little Jeet Jet. One of our absolute favorites. I know that I mom things and I say my favorites, but how much do we love Emiliano's? So much so that we had a milestone birthday there. And although Monica could not get out of them what is the signature ingredient in the guac, it was an amazing thing. Go get their guac.
She was the only one who could have done it, and it was not successful. But we still love you, Emiliano's.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
So do you guys in Pittsburgh, does anybody know somebody that had a Lifetime movie?
Nope. I mean, I do.
I do. I mean,
do.
we're now 6 degrees. We're 1 degree away from Steve Hofstetter, who has become a Pittsburgh here, supporting comedy. So, first of all, welcome to our new little thing, YaJagOff Late Night.
Well, I appreciate that, and I was listening to James' interview, and as it turns out, I am a library and a park. So, if I could be,
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so cool.
As it turns out, I heard about all the funding.
Yeah, and you tour with Taylor Swift, so there's that, right? Because she brought in so much.
Yeah, I actually am going to see her on my honeymoon.
Oh, is that right?
In Dublin. Yeah, we got tickets in Dublin.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go.
We happened to be there the weekend that she was going to be performing.
I would love to. Have you been to Dublin before?
I have many times.
And do you love it? Everyone says they love it.
I love it, but part of it's very similar to Pittsburgh in that like it's gritty.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
Like it's not there are some European cities where it's just like this is a museum and I'm bored.
Sure.
And then there are some European cities where you're like I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And Dublin's both, which is great.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you die, you die happy because you're maybe tipped over in a
like
curve
Pittsburgh,
after a pint or two.
Thanks to the arts grant.
Like there you go. That
now
was an
I'm
easy
sorry
segue.
that we made you follow James because you would have wanted to follow James out to his car to say like, hey, how do I get some of that 130 million?
Well, he's a library and a park.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
All good, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
So we have this new movie that just started airing on Lifetime last week. It's called Handyman from Hell.
Who starts with that? Like, you didn't start with, I do this thing here in Pittsburgh that led to a movie. You just dropped the bomb. You were like, you two have never been in a movie, so I'm going to go there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I came here to make you feel bad.
There you go. Yeah. Right.
No, that's what I'm currently promoting, so I gotta do it, or the overlords get upset. But no, it's called Handyman from Hell. It's a revenge flick. It's basically think of your average Lifetime movie, but then interject a bunch of comedy in it. Okay. And that's what it is. It's still got some of the same tropes. The heroine at one point falls when she's running away. I mean, you have to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have aired it if we hadn't had that happen.
Right.
But also, Michael Ian Black is in it, and Frank Caliendo, and Vic DiBitetto. Jodie Sweetin is in it. There's a really fun misdirect with her character, and so it's fun.
That is so cool.
Now, what happened is, did you put this together to kind of show at film festivals and all this kind of stuff, and then somehow Lifetime got a hold because you submitted to them? Or did you focus like, oh, I know this is a template for Lifetime, and I'm going to go after them?
No, we made this for Lifetime. We knew that was one of the good options that we had. So Jay Black wrote it. It started as an idea from a joke. So Jay and his company have sold a couple of movies to Lifetime. I've been in a few of them. I was in Psycho Yoga Instructor and Psycho Storm Chaser.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, Psycho Storm Chaser.
Yeah,
it's one of my faves.
But while we were, it's who didn't see it at the Oscars?
Yeah,
sure. Everyone who watched the Oscars. But we did like a kind of a digital live premiere because it was during COVID that it came out.
Sure.
And during one of the commercial breaks, we're just talking and joking around because I'm renovating this church for the Steel City Arts Foundation, and we just were like, oh, we should write one about a psycho handyman who's renovating a church. And then after the Zoom ended, we're like, we should do that. That would be fun. So Jay wrote the script. We came up with the story together, but Jay wrote the script. And the premise was, can we sell this thing to Lifetime? But the really cool part is, because we're indie, we convinced Lifetime to let us keep the theatrical rights. So we are actually starting to show in theaters Thanksgiving weekend. So our premiere will be in Denver, and then we have one in Minneapolis. We're working on adding one in Pittsburgh as well, because the movie was shot here. 90% of it was shot here. The crew is from here. Some of the actors are from here.
Here
and it
meaning
takes place,
like what areas? Yeah.
So it was shot almost all at the Steel City Arts Foundation.
Okay.
But it takes place, there's a couple local references. There's one point, because I wanted it to be authentic.
Sure.
I hate when they get the details wrong. So there's one part where the handyman is convincing someone they were just on their way and they happen to pass by. And so I looked up the map and I was like, where's he coming from? Newcastle. He's coming from Newcastle. And so like there's a lot of that in the movie where you just kind of see little references.
That's smart though, because if you can get that kind of an audience, you're sold, right? People love the relatability factor.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's one of these things where if anyone's looking for some deep inner message in it, you're watching the wrong flick.
Yeah, right.
Like, this is fun. It is, there are parts of it that are stupid on purpose.
Sure.
It's a fun movie.
Okay.
Nice.
This might be the dumbest question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why Lifetime? Like you're saying Lifetime as like, oh, we wanted to do this for Lifetime. Are they, do they have a good reputation as far as a network? Is it because of the audience, the demographic?
They buy a lot of stuff.
Okay.
No, it's because like right now, just theatrical is very difficult to do.
Okay.
And so you look at the networks that are buying and what their genres are.
Sure.
And like Hallmark is buying, but Hallmark is way too clean for me.
Yeah.
I was in a Hallmark movie once that Jay wrote, and it's too clean for me.
Right. And they
so,
use DJ from Full House. You use Stephanie.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
We got the good one. So Jodie was incredible in it.
I'm sure.
But you kind of look around at the landscape, who's buying, where can things end up, and what can be fun to do.
Sure.
And also, if you are doing made for TV, it's a lower budget, which allows you to kind of do more. I know that's weird to say, but with a bigger budget, half the movie is CGI. Whereas if you have a lower budget movie, you can really concentrate on the talent and the art of it, which is what we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. I'm so glad to hear that. Like you're genuinely happy, and
How long has it been? Did you shoot it 9 months later, 6 months later, 14 months later?
So we shot it in December.
Oh, okay.
And
wow.
then when we were editing it, and then the strike hit. Like we were finishing it up and the strike hit. And so at first we're like, okay, we're going to sit on this for a while because we want to support this strike. And then SAG-AFTRA did a wonderful thing where they realized the enemy isn't the little guy. Like the people they're negotiating with are the rich people, and the independent studios or the independent production companies, in our case, are not the bad guy. And so they gave out waivers to allow people to still sell and promote stuff that existed, and which and that's why we were able to do it. But the craziest part is, from the time Lifetime made an offer to the time it aired, less than 2 weeks, because we showed it to them and they were like, "Hey, this is a thriller, Halloween." And we're like, but that's like right now.
Right.
And they do this thing on Lifetime Movie Network where there's a new thriller or horror twice a week. And I guess
saw that
I guess
promotion,
we
yeah.
got real lucky that they needed one on October 19th. Because that's where it first aired, and they've been airing the crap out of it ever since, which is great. We actually rated higher in the 18 to 49 demographic than I think anything else they had that week. And I think that's
so
because
cool.
we had comedians in it. We had, it was
Sure.
a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Definitely
That's
different.
pretty awesome.
I love this story.
I feel like you're our Kevin Bacon at this point. Like we know him. So tell us, go back.
I was in a movie with it. No, totally.
I was going to say, wait.
Wasn't.
Go backward a little bit if you don't mind and talk about the Steel City AF.
Absolutely. So Steel City AF, Steel City Arts Foundation, but it also stands for the other stuff.
Hey, we got it. The whole JaGoff thing is the same thing.
Absolutely.
And we have to say, people know your voice because you've been on our show a bunch of times, just not in person. We've always talked to you over the phone for our Hump Day Haha, where, you've had so many different things going on in the city, but we haven't met to really know all of the great things
Until
you're doing.
today, I thought you were both AI. I didn't even know that existed.
And now you wish we were.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, he's a little chubbier than AI made him.
Oh my God. Go ahead, Steve.
Someone's self-conscious. So,
but I'll have more bread.
You're like, we're sponsored by
right, Mancini. So where's the butter?
Steel City Arts Foundation is a live, work, play environment for stand-up comedians located in Stanton Heights. It's a 501c3. It's funded by donations and my constant touring and the occasional Lifetime movie sale.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a place where comedians can get mentorship, they can use equipment, there's a green screen they can shoot from, there's a podcast studio, there's a gym they can work out in because we're self-conscious too. And life on the road is very unhealthy. I mean, especially when you're starting out, a club will be like, well, we're not going to pay you, but here's a bunch of chicken fingers. And you wonder why so many of us die young. So, we try to concentrate on, we actually do, I know I joked before, we actually do have a library. We have a comedy library. We have an art gallery. There's a bunch of stuff there. We're still waiting on zoning. We're still pursuing that from the city so that we could open to the public.
Okay.
But for now, our members come and go and use the space. I did today, so I have my comedy special is recording Monday and Tuesday. I did a digital run through of it because we have a Zoom studio. So we have 3 giant screens where you could see audience and actually interact with people, not just sitting at a laptop performing, but standing up, a stage, lighting, everything. And so I was able to do the run through of that today, and that is so valuable. I use the studio myself.
Why did you bring this to Pittsburgh?
Because you're from New York, right?
I am from New York originally. I don't know if you know how expensive it is to buy a church in New York.
Okay.
But no, it's...
Or go to church.
Pittsburgh. I think I bought the building for the cost of a parking space. It's honestly, there's a ton of reasons. I joked around before about how the city is gritty, but it is underestimated, much like the average comedian.
Sure.
But logistically, it's a great place to be based as a comic. There are 18 other full-time comedy markets within a short drive. It is a short flight from 2/3 of the population of the U.S. and Canada. It's a great place to be based to leave, but it's also a scene that's growing. We got here before Bottle Rocket opened. We got here before City Winery opened. We're so happy that both of them are in the scene. And the reason why I think both of them were able to open here is because Pittsburgh lost a lot. During the pandemic, Hambone's closed. We lost the Rex. A lot of places that were go-tos for stand-up no longer existed.
Sure.
And so being able to bring in, international headliners and mentors, and, we have a house with the property where 3 comedians live in at a time. Learn More Jonasy, who we brought over from Zimbabwe.
We talked to him.
We met him. Yeah.
We helped him get his green card. He went from someone who was doing well in Africa but had never worked in America.
Right.
And now he's headlining the Pittsburgh Improv, and he's got 200,000 followers on Instagram, and that's what we want to make happen.
Yeah.
And when his residency was up, he decided to stay.
Yeah.
And so now he lives in Pittsburgh. He's based here. He's still traveling all over, but he's still based here, which is great for some new and up-and-coming comic. They can then work with him, learn from him,
Sure.
etc.
That is such a good point. And you really have it mastered. And of course, Pittsburgh, we throw our arms around people who can do that. So thank you so much.
All right. So, we have this little thing where we do try to fill our junk drawer with your junk. So what kind of junk did you bring us for our junk drawer?
I brought something that is very junk drawer-esque. It is little rubber furniture feet. It's one of those things where you like buy one of these because you need it, and then it comes with a bunch more, and you're like, "What do I do with these?" And I'm like, "I know, I bring them to a podcast." That's
and then
what
you're
I
like,
do.
"Does anyone have 8 of those rubber stoppers?" Because
Exactly.
Right.
And I will bet anything that next week I will need them for something
Oh,
else,
yeah,
and I'll be
sure.
like,
Well, you know where to come get them.
Yeah, I'll be like, I need the junk drawer.
Steve, where can everybody find you and follow you so that they can know more about the great work you're doing?
Thank you. So personally, it's at Steve Hofstetter on everything. For the Steel City Arts Foundation, it's at Steel City AF. For Sunken Bus, which is the new venue that's coming in Ross Township very shortly, it's just at Sunken Bus. And then, of course, if you want to watch the movie, that is available on Lifetime Movie Network and their app, as well as a bunch of the various TV apps. So it's called Handyman from Hell. Check it out.
I love it. We have to check it out. And we also do a question of the day.
Yeah.
So, you get to tell us not only do you bring your junk, but what is if we opened your glove box, what would we find?
A forest fire's worth of napkins.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You're no James Santelli. He is prepared.
No.
No.
When you said glove box, I was like, is he thinking of an actual box with gloves?
Right.
No.
Silly
I was
guy.
like, there's so much stuff
First
in
thing
there.
he said was gloves. I'm like,
Silly
guy.
But the other thing is every bit of paperwork that's ever been done on my car. Like, if I do this for every vehicle I've ever owned, every oil change, etc. Because when you sell that thing eventually, when you hand that stack to someone, they just go, "Oh yeah, I'm sure it's good."
Yeah.
And that's why I have it.
Such a good point.
It's like ski tags on your coat. You don't even know what they know. It makes sense, but they're
Absolutely.
fire log.
Oh,
Right.
God.
Yeah, but they know.
Yeah,
they know.
That's funny.
It helps.
Steve, thanks for joining us on YaJagOff Late Night. It was a pleasure to have you. We need to have you back whenever Sunken Bust comes to the Ross Township area.
Absolutely, it'll be soon.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks. Here's the feet.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking that Rorik Automotive needs a new jingle.
Rorik Automotive got the best cars around Pittsburgh.
Driving a Rorik, I bought it at Rorik. Picked up my new car at Rorik Automotive. I got friends at Rorik Automotive where the staff is nice and the dealership's loaded with brand new cars. And you can drive real far.
Welcome to Fanatic. Can I take your orders?
You need a tap it?
No, we don't use this. We know how to yell the sandwich to cook. Here we go.
Let's dig in.
It's John and Rachel. We love to dig into iconic Pittsburgh places like Permanis. So we brought our friends from People's Gas.
Please call at least 3 business days before you dig.
It doesn't matter if it's a big project or something small like a mailbox. Always call before you dig.
I called. We can dig in.
So please call 811 3 business days before excavating so you don't have to call 911.
What we love about this corner, there are at least 6 or 7 churches all within a 3-block radius. Why, you may be wondering? Well, speaking of that steel industry, all of the immigrants who came here and especially landed right here to work in the mills, especially from Eastern, Southern Europe, they all built their own churches. They really were cultural hubs. They were places where you could meet people who understood you literally because of your language, but also culturally. And here we are in the present. This looks a little different than it used to. Shops, food, drink, but Pittsburgh, true to form, always likes to pay homage to what came before. So if you see tucked back behind me up here, the smokestacks of what really made this community what it is today.
Hey, John and Rachel, YaJagOff Late Night. And, here's what I love about today. We took our time and interviewed people so that we weren't, rushing, right? Because Tracy gets us so many good guests, and we actually got to kind of savor it, especially talking to those two, right?
Right.
Now.
And it gives us time. Don't cut us off because at the end we have a little game we're going to play that we've been trying to play
it's my
for
summary.
The last 3 episodes.
Do you want me to read my summary? Because it literally starts with that.
Our guest is going to play this game. Doesn't know that yet. But in the meantime, Tufal, you're welcome. Welcome to YaJagOff Late Night.
Nice to
good.
meet you
How's
guys.
it going with you?
Oh, I'm good. Good.
All
Everything's
right.
good. How are you guys doing?
Well, we are good, and we actually just had our correspondent, our jag bragger, Tressa, who did our Where Ya At, and it was Homestead, not Homewood, even though it's, that's where you're from. We love that Pittsburgh has so many unique neighborhoods, and the fact that she went there, she actually met up with our friend Max Gonzalez. Did you know that?
I did.
She talked about Do What We Love, and, they are, he and Shane Pilster are graffiti artists and muralists, and they do some great work in these, communities and in these neighborhoods and stuff like that. And I just love that we're exploring. We went from last week, where was Monica? Brighton Heights, out to the Homestead area. So this is cool. So now you hail from Homewood. Are you, biggest question we will ask you, are you an original Pittsburgher?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that you're like,
right.
Would I be here?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
What do you love most about Pittsburgh?
It's a cool place. I mean, it's a lot about business opportunities here. But there's also like everybody here is pretty cool. It's not too crazy of a city. So everything's like pretty lined up.
Status quo.
It's I say everything's pretty.
When you say business opportunity, you mean music-wise? Like
music-wise,
that seems to be strong anymore.
Yeah, there's music-wise as far as like anything you want to do. I know people with like cleaning companies. There's like people that own stores. There's people that own car lots. A whole lot of stuff. You just got to get out there and find it. Honestly,
entrepreneurial kind of.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, a lot of stuff like that.
Okay.
So like Steve was talking about, like he houses comedians so that they can work on their craft. The fact is, here in Pittsburgh,
do you house comedians?
You can work. You can work on your craft, but still be sustainable somewhere along the way, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Right.
So that's super cool. All right. So what got you started here?
Were
music?
You always in music?
Yeah. I've been in music for a while, but as far as like taking it serious, I'll say like a little bit, like a year and a half almost.
Okay.
Like as far as like putting my own money behind it, my music videos, my studio time and all that. Like probably
what made you start taking it seriously? Did someone go?
Everybody else around me.
Oh, is that right?
Everybody else around me.
Encourage you, like, wow, you're good at this.
Exactly. So it was like, why play with it if you're good at it? So.
Okay.
And what were you good at? Because every time we have a musician, we talk about genres of music and how they blend and why it's important to know different genres. Like, how did it start for you?
Pretty versatile. So like, as far as it starting, like sometimes I'd be sitting in my room, like usually when I'm on my way to sleep, I'll hum something like in my head, and then like I'll just start writing to it, and then it'll be like a song by the morning time. Honestly,
really?
So
Since you were young?
Yeah, since I was young, probably like 10. I'll say like 10.
Would you wake up and sort of write lyrics? Like keep a notepad by your bedside
Yeah, nowadays I just do it in my phone though. So
I know.
He said, "Hey,
like,
lady."
My mom just asked me a question.
Nowadays you just do it on the phone. So it's
my Aunt Greta asked
back
that
then
question before.
A notepad. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, but that's what you would do.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So, were you always musically inclined? Example, like
my whole family pretty much is like we just all pretty much listen to all types of genres of music, all types of even
what did
like
you grow up listening to?
Mainly like R&B, like with my mom and all that. So that stays on repeat like all the time around my grandparents. That's older R&B.
Big question for you: during the holiday season, do you listen to the Temptations' Christmas Card?
Oof. I know who the Temptations are. I listen to a couple of them, but
this is the part. This is the part where Rachel drops in. The Temptations were at my wedding.
At my wedding.
Really?
For real?
Oh.
For real?
Would I lie on my own show?
Oh, really? Really?
Never.
So that's
nice. Temptations at the
No,
wedding
we
is
joke
nice.
because at holiday time, it is not holiday time in my house until we bust out the Temptations Christmas Card. So I just wondered, like, how R&B are you? But R&B is a great foundation for really any music, right?
Right. Yeah. It like also like gives you so many ideas to run off to, like listening to it, even in like the way it makes you feel. Like sometimes like even like put your own stuff together.
Sure.
So it's like.
So when you're putting your own stuff together, do you hear it as a lyric? Do you hear it as a drum beat? Do you
Usually when I'm first starting, it's a melody. Like like get a bass for it, and then I'll fill it in with words. Like if that makes sense. Like I'll basically hum a whole song and then fill it in with words.
Okay.
So.
All right, go to the wordsmithing part. When you're kind of coming up with the words, how do you write? Is it something from sadness, happiness, emotion in general?
Everything usually, and I try to like make my songs as like visual as possible. So like you could see a music video to a song that I'm like without even seeing the music video. Like you just listening to it, you can see like a visual to it. Like that's how I try to write to like all my music.
That's actually a really good leading question. So,
same, I know. I have one too, but I don't think it's the same. Go ahead.
All right, no. So
you listen to the Temptations Christmas card.
I do. Yes, I do.
Because of me.
You play it in my car as I'm driving. You're like, we won't listen to nothing else but this. But no, when you're. Have you made a music video at this point? Have you done it right?
I got a lot of music
so
videos,
the fact of the matter is that what's harder, making the video or making the song?
Making the song.
Yeah,
but
see, I don't think anybody would realize that.
Bringing the music video to life, like how I would want it, would be harder. But like, as far as like getting all my words and stuff lined up, that's a huge part in it. So
okay.
I would do
Bigger question than that.
Uh-oh.
Why is the video so important? Because we come from a time, right, that's obviously different than yours. I mean, I'm literally the MTV, the VH1, the BET era, like when it all started. And so
what
that
do you think
was
I'm from the Flintstones?
So basic, but you're not. I mean, that was already around.
Right.
So to us, it was like, wow, you can add a video component to songs.
Right.
So just as the transformation from vinyl to cassette to CD to whatever, right? Why is the video so important?
I feel like the people who, like your fan base, wants to see the video more than the actual song. Because there's been times like I've put songs out without videos and then I'll do a video to it and then somebody's like, oh, that's a cool song. But yeah, it's been out for 3 months.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Until you've seen the video. So I would say it depends like what your fan base really into, but mine really likes music videos like a lot. So.
Okay.
So when you're out hanging out with your friends, they're like, "Dude, you get me in your video or not?"
Yeah, right.
Is that like the big
really
question?
ask?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
They
when I'm
start
on
buying
the
you
south
drinks?
side and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I'm on the south side and stuff like that, people always come up to me. It's just crazy.
They're like, put me at the table. Put me on the top of the steps.
Right.
Put me at the table.
Put me at the table. Put me at the table.
Asking next, just so you know, like that's the next question.
I just want to be at the top of the steps in one of your videos right now.
Hey,
the
let's
city
do
steps.
it.
That's right.
Hey,
here we
let's
go.
do it.
This
We're
is where
locked in.
And what we'll do is
locked
I'll
in.
hold a skateboard. Like I'm gonna go down the railing, and then we'll just
Right.
fake meet the bar.
I'm gonna hold you to it, man. I'm gonna hold you to it.
I'm in. I'm holding you to it.
I'm gonna hold you to
Sorry
it.
that it has come to this. What are you working on now?
Right now, I'm putting together another album. I recently dropped 2 of them in an EP. The EP is like just a shorter version of an album. I'm just like you. Just
You're as old as my children,
for the
but I
people
do
who might
know.
not know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you're right.
Just for the people who might not know. So like,
Fair.
and now I'm just working on another one right now. I wanted to drop it in December, but I might wait until like January just to have something out fresh for 2024.
Okay.
That's the year we're in, right?
Okay.
Now we're gonna hear a little music from you, but before we do that, we're gonna set up for that. But in the meantime, we're gonna kick it out to Jack from the PDP for this week's 412 Deuce.
Hi, my name is Jack Doherty. I am with the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership, and I am here to tell you everything that is coming up and going on for this week's edition of 412 Deuce. So, Halloween may have just happened, but we have flipped the calendar. It is now November, and with that comes a full focus on creating a fantastic holiday season for downtown Pittsburgh. And we have some wonderful things in store for this year. Everything is going to kick off with the return of Pittsburgh's annual holiday celebration. Highmark Light Up Night is coming back this year on Saturday, November 18th. We're going to have multiple stages, multiple tree lighting ceremonies, kids activities, and it's all going to be culminating with a fantastic fireworks finale off the river near PNC Park after our headline performance from our just announced headliner, Philip Phillips. So it's going to be a fantastic evening, and it's really just the start of everything that we have planned for the holiday season. Our holiday market, the People's Gas Holiday Market in Market Square, is returning this year for its 12th season. We are thrilled to bring this beloved Pittsburgh tradition back to the square. We have vendors coming in from out of state, out of town, out of the country. We have international vendors who come for this market. It's going to be fantastic. And the big news this year is that we are adding Glühwein, which is a traditional hot spiced German wine that you can buy by the glass. We're also going to have some seasonal beers available on the weekends for people to enjoy in the market. So we're very excited about that. Additionally, we are bringing back our Photos with Santa operation, which is going to come to the Heinz Hall Courtyard. We are very excited to bring that back. The photos are free with a donation to the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank. And surrounding Santa's house in Heinz Hall Courtyard, there's going to be a fantastic selfie garden full of backdrops of beloved characters from Fred Rogers Productions. And right across the street on the weekends, we are going to also be having our Kids Play Zone. Again, thanks to our partners at Fred Rogers, there's going to be costumed character visits, crafts, games, lots of fun activities for the whole family to enjoy. So keep a lookout for all of these details and more that are going to be announced. You can find everything you need to know at downtownpittsburgh.com/holidays or follow us on social media. We are at all of the social media platforms under the handle at Downtown Pitt. Thanks.
We've been trying to play this bit for the last 3 episodes, but we haven't. It's pick it, you pick it. So what happens is tonight our food sponsor is Mancini's Bread. They gave us their traditional twist, and they gave us their pepperoni roll. Rachel, which one would you pick?
Easy. This is so easy. Plain. The traditional twist.
Right.
Who doesn't go with that?
I would definitely pick the pepperoni. And Tufal, our musician.
He didn't touch it, Tufal.
What? You pick it. What would you eat?
I gotta pick it the classic right there.
Oh, there you go. Look,
There we
it's
go.
Kenny Pickett.
Really
You get it? You get
That was
it?
fun.
Kenny
This is the
Pickett.
segment that we've been dying to roll out.
And you guys have been dying to see. So,
And
anyways,
there's no pressure that I told him that you need to pick the
did you bring us something for our junk drawer?
I did.
All right.
Okay, so let's
All right.
see.
So.
Oh my God!
I feel like you're holding a school drive.
He brought the whole junk drawer. Did you clean out your house?
Listen to me.
Oh my God!
It has to go somewhere, right?
Back to school. We are helping out an entire school. I think. I love that you did
He
that.
has a library. Is that the Love Your Library thing too? No, it's close.
It's close.
All right,
It's
all right.
it's close. It's a
So, where does everybody find you online?
Instagram, I'm Ben Tufal, BEAN, the number 2 Foul. Facebook, I'm Tufal. And Twitter, I'm Ben Tufal also.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
everywhere.
And what would we find in your glove box in your car?
Utensils, probably forks and spoons.
Another good one.
Because it's the worst.
Really?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I know you had a Frosty before and they forgot to give you the
Yeah.
spoon. Right. So
And you know what? They don't melt. They stay
don't
so
melt.
thick.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to say thank you to James Santelli from RAD. We got to say thank you to Steve Hofstetter from Steel City AF. And thank you to Tufal. We're going to hear your song, which is what?
Don't Fear.
John and Rachel, YaJagOff Late Night.
There's a huge trend that's happening in the world right now, and that is called curl cult. We're so thrilled to be among the first group of salons, along with Danny's Hair Loft. If you remember the perms of the past, where it was like all real curly, kinky, and all these crazy type of perms that were done, you would wrap them with straws and sticks. But the problem was that you had to try to figure out how to rinse it. A lot of times when you have coloring, highlights, thermal styling abuse, and also the environment all working with our hair, those are the 3 main reasons why hair becomes sensitized. We are now creating all experts with the new curl cult revolution. This is the wave of the future, as we like to say, and we're so excited to bring this to not only Pittsburgh, but really to this part of the continent, curl cult.